Okay, so we're here with Rohit Bhargava from um, Ogilvy. I'm sorry, from Ogilvy. It's been a long 2 days, but it's been a great 2 days. It's been a great 2 days. And they have come to the Corporate Social Media Summit, and they have been just wonderful on panels, and Rohit has just been all over the place, and we would love to get your feedback on why Ogilvy decided to partake in this conference. It's different. It's for corporations.
Yeah.
What was the goal in coming
Well, I
to
mean,
that?
the number one answer is pretty simple, which is that our clients are here, and it's sort of like we want to be where our clients are,
Right.
and where our potential clients are. But the broader answer is that we do a lot of work with large enterprises, and the challenge with large companies is quite different from a lot of local companies because they're not just wondering how to use social media, they're wondering how to scale it, how to do it across multiple regions sometimes, so it's the global challenge. And it's something that we do a lot of, and it was really important for us to try and share that point of view and also maybe get some learnings back in return. It's not just us delivering something one way, but I mean, I took a lot away from the conference in terms of just listening to everyone else's experiences.
Right. So it's a unique platform then, since the corporations are here as opposed to the other conferences.
Yeah, it is. I mean, definitely just the format of companies sharing their own challenges in real time was quite different.
Right.
But it was very, what was interesting to me was, and you guys probably noticed this as well, was that the people who were here attending were quite different from what you often get. It wasn't, the people who were here weren't trying to sell anything to anyone. And not to say that every conference is like that, but this one in particular seemed to have fewer people like that. And it seemed to have more people who were genuinely here to learn, take actions away that they could actually go and use at their companies. And so the vibe of this was very learning oriented, and I thought that was really great.
So you sat on, you also moderated a panel as well. I mean,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about the panel that you moderated? And
Yeah, so the panel I moderated was all about how do you get your employees to talk about your brand, and how do you create a framework within your company that makes that easy to happen. Because people just generally, people like to talk about what they do. That's just a basic fact. And for any company, if you try and silence your own employees, you're sort of losing your best chance at these, what I call accidental spokespeople, right? Like people who, it's not their job to be a spokesperson, but they sort of take that role because they're passionate about something, and because they want to talk about it. So the panel was all about like, how do you actually foster that? And how do you do it in such a way that covers you for any sort of negativity or issues that you might have in the future? So how do you create like things that maybe you don't want them to talk about, and give them a framework to actually then go and talk about?
Right. So if you could say one thing that might have been a great takeaway from that panel for young entrepreneurs and corporations on how to do just that, what would it be for them to?
The first thing, well, I would say two things.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'll give you two. I'll give you two.
All right, okay.
No.
So, the first one is to find the people who are really passionate, who are already out there. Because in every organization, you already have people who are really passionate about this stuff, and they're already using it. And they are the great people to connect with because they're pioneers within your own company that may not necessarily be getting the credit for it. It may not be at the management level either. They may be at any level. And I think the second thing is to establish some guide rails for what you do want people to do, so that number one, they get a sense that you want them to actually be out there, because a lot of employees just assume that the company doesn't want them saying anything because they're not the PR director, and so they don't say anything. And if you give them the guide rails and you say, you know what, here are the three things you shouldn't talk about. Don't talk about our stock price. Don't badmouth competitors. Don't talk about secret stuff. On a very basic level, you've got your guidelines right there. And then here's what everything else is fine to talk about. Then you give people a sense that, okay, the company does want us to say some stuff, and then people, things start to happen. So.
Okay. So on the scale of looking at one of the big issues in social media for corporations, particularly Facebook, privacy. When you deal with privacy with your clients, and even within Ogilvy, Ogilvy is huge, and it can't be easy. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a concern is privacy with your clients in social media? I mean, how concerned are they that they are revealing too much? And
That's for our clients in terms of the company revealing too much.
yeah.
I don't think it's that much of an issue, because the sort of the guidelines for employees are already sort of there.
Right.
So if you think about someone who's working on something that's secret, I mean, the guy knew that he shouldn't have lost the iPhone. It had nothing to do with whether he posted it on Facebook or not. I mean, people know that about their jobs already. They know what they're not supposed to share. So that's not that new. What's new is that these people aren't used to being a voice on behalf of the brand. Not the voice, but a voice. That's what people aren't used to.
Even in their off time.
Even in their off time. I mean, if I talk about where I work, I just say I work there and here's what I do. Not, here's the philosophy of my company or here's why I love to work there. I mean, people don't sometimes make that connection. But if they do, then it becomes a really powerful thing, not only for customers, but also just from the recruiting point of view, because everybody wants to get the best people. And the way you get the best people is by having people happy working there in the first place.
So then where does Ogilvy, because I know Ogilvy has a big presence, obviously a huge presence, advertising and marketing. Where would you like to see social media go from here? I mean, what's needed to answer some of the concerns that we heard today? I mean, there were so many, I know, but what's the most important? Let's say in the next year, a year from now, what would you like to see that would help Ogilvy and the clients?
Well, I'll start by telling you what I don't want to see,
I like
There
that.
we go.
which is what's happened with digital. Because what's happened with digital in most large organizations is they've created a digital team, a digital group, and it's its own group. So you've got the marketing, you've got the customer service, you've got the PR, you've got the digital, and it's just another silo. And if we add another one to that, and we put social media into another one, then we're just setting ourselves up for all the issues that large companies already have around collaboration, dealing with one another. So instead, if you can have people trained in social media as part of all the different things that they're doing. So you don't have one social media team, you have a customer service team that is social media savvy. You have a marketing team that's social media savvy. And it never becomes its own silo. Because my big fear is that it becomes another silo and then you're sort of headed down the same path again.
The antithesis of social media. I mean, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's just another way of communicating. And if we can educate the PR team on how to use it for the PR activities, if we can educate the marketing team on how to make it part of the mix, if we can educate the media buying groups about how to buy media in social media, which seems like a totally weird thing to do, but you can do that already, and you just need to get smarter about how to do it. Then I think you're starting to integrate social media in a way that uses the power that it has.
Great. That's awesome. You've been wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing and for coming to the conference. And it's been great. And we look forward to see there'll be another conference, another social media summit. So
I'm sure there will be.
okay. Thank you.